Good evening. Good evening. It is 7:30. Trump is live right now doing a special announcement from the White House about his new Trump RX plan. I'm very interested to see what type of plan that he has for us. So instead of me talking, let's just jump right to it. All right, y'all. Hit the like, share, sub. Much love. God bless America. Hold on. I gotta find a different source because the one that I wanted to use wouldn't let me do it. Hold on, guys. Sorry. I should have been a little more prepared. I jumped on hoping I just jumped right on. Like I didn't even get it. Oh, it's only 16 minutes long. Ah. All right. Well, we'll still see what it is. We're already there. See what else is there is, I guess. After that, I don't know. I might just cut leave all that work and sleep. Here we go. All right, here we go, guys. Sorry. I thought he'd be yapping away. He always talks forever. He always talks forever, dude. I thought for sure he'd be yapping away by now. All right, here we go.
Some of them didn't even
Didn't
try
even try
because they never
because
really
they
had a
never really
shot
had
at
a
it.
shot.
But I'm actually getting it done, and it is done, actually. This launch represents the largest reduction in prescription drug prices in history by many, many times. And it's not even close. You're going to see numbers that you're not going to believe. Americans have long been paying the highest drug prices anywhere in the world, while other countries often paid pennies on the dollar for the exact same drugs. We were essentially subsidizing the entire world and subsidizing by hundreds of billions of dollars every year. The United States is just 4% of the world's population and consumes only 13% of all prescription drugs. Yet pharmaceutical companies have been making 75% from these drugs. Think of it,
What's
75%
up,
of the
Daniel?
money they made came from the United States with a smaller population than what we will call the world. The American people were effectively subsidizing the cost of drugs for the. It's not going to happen any longer. We ended it. Everybody knew it was unfair for 30 years, but nobody did anything about it. Under the most favored nation agreements my administration has negotiated, the United States will pay the lowest price paid by any other country. So we're taking the lowest price paid for drugs. We will pay equal to whatever the lowest price anywhere in the world. That's the price that you're going to be paying. It's a tremendous reduction. Drug prices in other nations will go up by doing this. They had to agree. And the reason they agreed is I used tariffs. I said, if you don't put them up, then we're going to put tariffs on your nation, which will be more expensive to you. So in many cases, the drug costs will go up by double and even triple for them, but they're going way down for the United States. come all the way down by a difference of as much as 300, 400, 500, even 600%, even more than that in some cases. For example, you will see dramatic reductions in the cost of popular weight loss drugs known as GLP-1s. GLP-1s. Novo Nordisk will be slashing the price, as an example, of Ozempic from more than $1,000 to $199, and the price of Wegovy from more than $1,300 to $199. Nobody can even believe it. A 578% difference. Eli Lilly, who's been very helpful to us in getting this done, will be cutting the cost of its common insulin, drug, and medication from $200 to $25. Nobody can believe it. $200 to $25. AstraZeneca is slashing the price of a common inhaler from $458 to $51, a difference of nearly 800%. And we're also delivering historic discounts for couples struggling with infertility, as EMD Serrano will dramatically cut the cost of its most common IVF drugs. For example, a single dose of the most common IVF drug in the country, Gonal F, will plummet from the highest price in the developed world that we paid. The United States was subsidizing everybody. We paid the highest to the lowest price in the world, which will be demonstrating very shortly. We have some very talented people coming up and showing you how it's going to work and how the website works. All of these discounts and more will be available directly to consumers starting today at trumprx.gov. In just a moment, we will demonstrate how you can go to the website, get a coupon, and pick up your heavily discounted prescription drugs, highest level drugs, the highest level company, finest in the world, biggest in the world, most powerful drug companies in the world. And we had to go through them, and then we had to get all of these countries worldwide to lower their prices, and for us, help us lower our price. And what they did is, again, their prices went up by double, triple, and even sometimes 4 and 5 times. But the dozens of commonly used drugs available today are just the beginning. 16 of the 17 largest pharmaceutical companies have signed agreements, and the other one is coming. Believe me, they're coming, committing that going forward, all new medicines they bring to the market in the United States will be available at most favored nation prices. For those that don't know, that means in the entire world, most favored, we get the most favored, the lowest price. So if somebody gets a great price, that's great for us because we get it. So this is the exact opposite of what's been happening for the last 30 plus years. This policy, which is a key pillar of the great healthcare plan, is going to bring copays plummeting down and save Americans billions and billions of dollars, making healthcare much more affordable, like at a level that you couldn't believe. In my first administration, I kept drugs pretty even. I thought I was doing a great job, but this is really the great job. There's never been anything like it. Nobody thought it was possible to get it done. It's the biggest thing to happen in healthcare, I think, in many, many decades. Under these agreements, the top pharmaceutical companies will also be investing hundreds of billions of dollars to bring drug manufacturing back to America. It's already happening. They're building plants all over the country. Eli Lilly is building 6 plants with billions and billions of dollars each, which means jobs, economic growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. And it's really a big factor was the tariffs. We're charging very substantial tariffs for companies that don't want to make their drugs or pharmaceuticals and automobiles and other things. If they don't want to make them in the United States, they have to pay very big penalties in the form of tariffs. And what that means is they're all coming here. Every industry is coming here. We're taking in more than $18 trillion into the United States because of tariffs. The companies, the only way they can avoid them is to build here. They avoid paying the tariff. Now, they've been doing that, countries, to us for 30 years. That's how we lost so much business. They were drying up our country. We were losing factories We're losing jobs like nobody's ever seen for many, many years. And now it's all been reversed, and we've never had a period. This is the wealthiest our country has ever been. We have hundreds of billions of dollars a year pouring in, and we're taking advantage of it. I want to give a special thanks to Airbnb co-founder and now, much more importantly, the Chief Design Officer of the United States, Joe Gebbia, and the entire team at the National Design Studio. They're unbelievably talented people. This group of geniuses could be doing anything right now. They could have been making a big fortune out there, but they decided they want to be with the government and do exactly what you're going to see tonight, and also some other things having to do with our country. And I want to thank Joe. With their help, our American by Design initiative will fully transform our most dated federal systems and services, providing Americans the richest, most beautiful, and most user-friendly government experience in the entire world. We have the greatest designers in the entire world, and they're with our country. They love our country. That's why they're doing it. So now I'd like to invite administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, an incredible guy, a really brilliant man, Dr. Mehmet Oz, to show us how this beautiful new website works. And Dr. Oz, come on and let's see what you can tell us. Thank you, by the way. Everybody, you're going to save a fortune, and this is also so good for overall healthcare. And Oz, you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So you demanded, President demanded, that we have most favored nation drug pricing, which he explained beautifully. Today, you can now get access to these discounted, steeply discounted prices. All the hard work the president and the administration have done now is yours, but you have to go check TrumpRx.gov. So if you have access, please log on right now. It's free. You get to look at all the prices, and you should not be buying drugs anymore going forward without at least checking to see if those medications are available at these discounted prices on TrumpRx.gov. That stated, Mr. President, many people don't appreciate this, but one of the most special things you've been able to do, besides negotiating these kinds of deals, is bring wonderful people around you who can actually fulfill the dream of making drugs accessible so Americans no longer suffer that affordability issue. 1 in 3 Americans are turned away from the drugstore. They can't afford the drugs. No more. Our most vulnerable are protected. To do that, you need brilliant software engineers. And Ed Korstein led a wonderful group that you hired. Folks, again, would never normally have come into government to work to make this possible. And Joe, just a superstar, and he's going to take us through the website.
Thanks, Dr. Oz. Mr. President, I've launched some big websites, and this is one I think you're going to be very proud of. So you mentioned Gonalef. I think this is an interesting drug that we can check and see how do you find a drug on the site. So we'll pull up the website here. This is TrumpRx.gov. And I'm going to start at the search bar where I can search by the drug name. So I type in Gonalef, and I see it autocompletes. When I click on this, I have a beautiful page that shows the drug product. And right at the top, I see this is 83% off the original price. Now, how do I get this discount? I take this coupon and I bring it to the pharmacy. I can print it out. I can add it to my wallet on my phone, whether it's an Apple or an Android. I show it to the pharmacist, and I get the coupon credit right at the register. Now, this is an intelligent site. We know that there's other drugs that are commonly prescribed along with this. So we surface them here, and they work with the same coupon. Okay, next, what pharmacies can you go to get this drug? It's a smart site. We pull up exactly where you can go to get this. Now, Gonalef is a specialty drug, so you get it through the mail. I can call any one of these pharmacies, and they deliver it straight to my home. It's that simple.
Mr. President, 1 in 3 families is having trouble having a baby. We're going to have a lot of Trump babies with these costs. Folks cannot afford these medications. It's going to change their lives. Now, this is the tip of the iceberg, because Joe did a lot more with Ed and the rest of the National Design Studio. How many more medications do you have?
Well, the website launches with over 40 medications, ones that are the popular medications and ones that were previously very expensive. These are things like asthma inhalers, the GLP-1s. And on TrumpRx, you can actually find things like the weight loss shots and also new form factors like the weight loss pill. Let's click on this and see the discount for the pill. 89% off the original price. As you mentioned, Americans for the first time are getting the lowest cost price drugs like the rest of the world is. And we're not done. We're adding more and more drugs week over week. So going forward, It's an invitation to the nation to check TrumpRx.gov anytime you get a prescription.
Mr. President, we're breaking news. This weight loss shot that you've talked about a lot, this is a weight loss pill. And with these pills, which are actually even less expensive than the shots, we project that America will lose about 100 million pounds this year, which is going to make not only folks a lot healthier, but a lot easier to manage when they do get ill. But I'm particularly drawn, as I know you are, to the plight of folks, young couples trying to have children. And that first medication, one of the first ones we did most favored nation drug pricing on, has helped an immense number of folks. But the first person to use TrumpRx.gov to buy Gonal-F is here. And I wanted to introduce her to you, if you don't mind. Catherine's with us. Oh, perfect. Secretary Kennedy's going to escort her.
Good evening. I'm incredibly honored to be here tonight. I'm a military spouse, and my husband and I have been navigating infertility and IVF for 5 years, a journey that has included profound loss. Through that experience, we have come to understand how critical access to affordable fertility medication truly is. Medications like Gonal-F and access to them have been essential to our treatment and to our hope of success. IVF demands extraordinary physical and emotional strength. But for so many families, the financial burden can be just as heavy and at times overwhelming. The President's leadership on price transparency and on reducing the costs of medications, some of which are essential in my fertility treatments, has a real and immediate impact. Families like ours, it can mean the difference between being able to continue treatment or having no choice but to stop. These efforts help ensure that IVF remains within reach for families who are doing everything that they can to build a future. Families who should not have to choose between financial stability and the chance to have a child. For that commitment and leadership, we are greatly thankful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, Oz and everybody, I want to thank you for the job. Joe, what a job you do. Bobby is back here, who is so instrumental. He's doing such a fantastic job. Who would have thought of Kennedy? We love the Kennedy, the Republican Party, but there's been no better advocate for what we're doing than Bobby Kennedy Jr. So I just want to leave you with this. You're going to save tremendous amounts of money. Go to the site. We have many of them, and in a very short period of time, we'll have just about all of them, and they'll be available for differences of 500, 600, 700%, even in some cases more than that. We're tired of subsidizing the world. We have to put America first. If you think about it, that's exactly what we're doing. We want to take care of everybody, but we have to put America first. So this is going to have a huge impact on healthcare. No matter which plan they come up with, drugs and prescription drugs, they form a big part. And now you're going to be getting those drugs at numbers, not with a 1 or 2 or 10% discount, but think of it, 80%, 90% in some cases, numbers that nobody's even thought possible. So I just want to thank our entire team. They have so many people here that have worked so hard. And again, Joe and Oz and Bobby, thank you very much. Great job. And congratulations to you and all that money you're saving. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'm not a big fan of Big Pharma, so that wasn't one for me. That was not my bag of tea right there at all. I thought it was kind of gross myself. We will see what comes of it, but who's shocked? Who's shocked here? I mean, there's nothing is coming out right, so nobody should be really shocked at anything we're hearing right now. Anything that has to do with Big Pharma and taking pills to lose weight and all that stuff, I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving advice. I just think that's not the natural way to go, so I can't even help to promote that. Not even, no way, not at all. I will go ahead and throw this on. If y'all want to watch it, cool. I wanted to see what he said this morning. I started to watch it, but I had to get up off the stream, so I only did like a little bit of it. So I'll go ahead and put it on so we could BS or whatever, and I'll hop back on. But if nobody wants to watch it, we don't have to watch it, bro. So I'll go ahead and throw this on. Much love, y'all. What's up, Michael? What's up, Janice? And everybody else in the chat. My sheep hear my voice. Much love to you. All right, let's get to the next one. Ooh. I really wasn't planning on doing this. I thought he was making some major announcement. If I would have known, I would have been showing the World Economic Forum video and talking about the crypto if I was going to know, but I guess it's too late now.
From the
Here you
beginning,
guys
this
go.
is a beautiful American tradition, and it's a true honor to be back with so many incredible leaders and people of faith at the National Prayer Breakfast. I think I've been here just about every time. It's hard to turn it down. I don't have the courage to turn it down. Sometimes I want to. I come back from a horrendous trip fighting people that can't stand us, keeping us out of wars, and seeing things that nobody would believe that anybody would see. And last time I came, I got in at 4 a.m. They said, "Sir, you're going to be speaking at 7." I said, "Really? Oh, that's wonderful." I said, "Where?" "National Prayer Breakfast." I said, "I'll be there. I'm afraid not to be. I need all the help I can get." And you know, I never get a fair break from the fake news, which is back there. That's a lot of fake news. Because last time I was having a lot of fun. We had a big crowd. We had 60,000 people, and I'm talking about the fact that I will never make it to heaven. I will never, ever. And I was being funny. I was trying to be, you can't be sarcastic with them because they write your words, and they don't. The people who are reading the words are much different than. But I said, I'm never going to make it to heaven. I just don't think I qualify. I don't think there's a thing I can do, but all of these good things I'm doing, including for religion, religion's back now hotter than ever before. I mean, I have to tell you. But I said, even though I did that and so many other things, I named things, I said, I won't qualify. I'm not going to make it to heaven. And the New York Times did a front page story that Donald Trump is questioning his life and the meaning of his life. No, I was just having fun. I really think I probably should make it. I mean, I'm not a perfect candidate, but I did a hell of a lot of good for perfect people. That's for sure. Right, Mr. Speaker? But I want to thank the dozens of members of Congress here this morning, including a man of immense faith and immense talent. He's a very talented man. He's a small minority. It's just really because we go back and forth between minority and majority, and half the time we're minority and we still win. How do we win with a minority? We have a couple of people that I consider to be negative, but we're 1 up, 2 up. Sometimes we're 3 up. In fact, we'll have 2 more victories very soon. We'll be 3 up, and we consider that having a massive majority, okay? Right, Mike? That's considered. We're not spoiled. Can you imagine if we ever picked up like 20 or 30 seats? Wouldn't that be pretty? That'd be too easy. I think it would be too easy. It wouldn't be fun. I get these calls from Mike. "Sir, could you speak to so-and-so 3 o'clock in the morning?" We have 2 types. We have the type that goes along with us and believes in us, and they're with us all the way. And that, I would say, is 95%, right? And then we have the type that needs a little love all the time, no matter what it is. For the easiest thing on religion or republicanism, the easiest thing to pass, they always make it difficult, but they always get there. But I have to call them always at 3 a.m. I'll always get that call. "Sir, Speaker Johnson's going." So I get, "Hi, Mike, what's up? What time is it?" So it's 3 a.m. So we have 9 names there giving us difficulty. They want to have a phone call. I said, "All right, let's go. Here we go." Same 9 all the time, right? So I call up. I say, "Chip, how you doing, Chip?" "Hello, sir." Sir, I can't quite get there. I just don't know. Could I come over for breakfast? You know, we have a 9 o'clock vote, right? I said, really? Is it not? Sir, you got to get me there, sir. Let's have breakfast, Chip, great. And then I get others, pretty much the same night. I don't want to name too many, but I would. And they always get there. We have one that doesn't get there. We have one guy. He's an automatic no. No matter what. If we did welfare reform, if we did the greatest thing in history for religion, no matter what we did, no matter how good it is, greatest tax cuts, and we just did the greatest tax cuts in history, he voted against. He voted. Now, no matter what we do, this moron, no matter what it is, we could put them all together. I think, Mike, what would you say the top 5 things? Name them. We'll put them in one bill, and we'll put them before we get 100% vote, except for this guy named Thomas Massey. There's something wrong with him. We call him Rand Paul Jr. You know, it's like they just vote no. They love voting no. They think it's good politically. The guy's polling at about 9%. It's not good, but we have great support, and we have great support for religion. You know, I've done more for religion than any other president. When Paula was saying that, it was so nice. I was proud of it. And I said, that's true. I told the people backstage. What she said is true. Who else would say that, right? But it is true. But then I said, but that's not saying much, because not too many presidents have done too much for religion. I want to tell you that. Certainly modern day presidents, they bailed out on you. They bailed out. They want to be neutral. They want to be neutral or against. You know, the Democrats are against. I don't know how a person of faith can vote for a Democrat. I really don't. And I know we have some here today, and I don't know why they're here, because they certainly don't give us their vote. I certainly know that we're not going to be convincing them to vote for a little thing called voter ID. It polls at 97%. And even the Democrat, the people, the voters, are at 82% for voter ID, but the leaders don't want to approve it. They said they will strike. They will not allow it to happen. It's polling at over 90%. It's called voter identification. When you go to the polls, you show if, yes, my name is so-and-so, and I live in the country. I'm here, I can vote. They say, that's not allowed. And no, everyone's trying to figure it out. And they do something to win. You know what it is? They cheat. But let's get on to another subject. No, at that, they're the finest, probably anywhere in the world, I would say. But we're trying to pass voter ID and other things having to do with your religion. And getting the Democrats to vote is very, very tough. But we're grateful to the co-chairs of the breakfast, Representatives Ben Klein and Jonathan Jackson, and Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I want to thank a man who's been with me for a long time. We've been friends, and I used to be interviewed by him, and all he wanted to talk about was war. I said, this guy, you know, he's very smart, went to the top schools, was a top student. He's like me. I was a very good student, too, but nobody would think so, you know, and nobody thinks Pete was a good student. I don't know. They think of him as a tough cookie, a flamethrower, which I like, actually, in the position of Secretary of War. But he has done some job. Pete Hegseth. You know, he was very popular. He turned down a very large 5-year extension contract for millions of dollars a year. Oops, I don't want to say that. Your wife is here. She's saying, are you crazy? He's got the greatest wife. But it's true that Pete has just been incredible. And I used to go and be interviewed at Fox and Friends. Remember those beautiful days? And I'd say, what do you want to talk about? So I want to talk about releasing about 25 prisoners. They have arrested American soldiers because they taught them how to fight, and they fought really well, and they won every battle. And now they put them in jail because they said they were too tough. I said, so how many are there? 22. And some of these guys were they were fairly tough, wouldn't you say, Pete? But, you know, it's true. We teach people how to fight, and then you put them in jail because they fought a little bit too hard. And we took care of a lot of business. But That's all. We didn't talk about the things, the normal things that a interviewer would be talking about, right? But I saw that, and I saw his love for the military. That was obvious. He was always looking to protect soldiers. And I said, you know, this is a really smart guy. If I ever get this thing, I got to get it. It wasn't easy, you know. They rigged the second election. I had to win it. Had to win it. I needed it for my own ego. I would have had a bad ego for the rest of my life. Now I really have a big ego, though. Beating these lunatics was incredible, right? What a great feeling. Winning every swing state, winning the popular vote. The first time, you know, they said I didn't win the popular vote. I did. But they said, so they'd always say, they would always start, they'd introduce it. While Donald Trump did not win the popular vote, you know, I'm sitting up being introduced by a Democrat or somebody. And they say, why Donald Trump did not win the popular vote? He won the presidency. Here he is. I said, that was terrible. I said, and we won the popular vote by a lot. We didn't want to play any games. This has been a much different. We had a great first term. We had the greatest economy in history, but this one's going to blow it away already. It's blowing everything away. We have $18 trillion coming into our country, blowing everything away. But we had a great first term. We rebuilt the military. You know, Biden gave a little chunk of it to Afghanistan brilliantly. He left tanks and planes and, you know, little things. I said, why didn't you fly the planes out? He said, well, nobody thought of it. He could have flown. He said, it's very hard to remove the equipment. Really? You couldn't fly an airplane? Buy $150 million brand new airplane. Sir, I think it's better to leave it. Why? It's more cost effective. So we leave him a brand new jet. I said, these people are crazy. But we have it under control now like you've never seen, and our military has never been stronger. And you saw that with the B-2 bombers in Iran, and you saw it recently with Venezuela, where we're getting along fantastically with leadership, but really become a great relations. I don't think there's been anything quite like it ever. In fact, we have 50 million barrels of oil floating right now over to Houston, and we're working with them really well. I don't think I've ever seen anything. The cooperation that we have and it's great for them because they were in big trouble economically, and yet they have more oil than any other country in the world, I think, except us. But they have more oil just about than any. And by the way, us and them, we have 68% of the world's oil. Now, I know that doesn't mean too much to people of great religion. I know you want to hear about, but you know, we got to keep our country strong, and we're doing really good. But that's been an amazing operation. I would say when people saw that, I was just talking to a great leader from El Salvador, and he said, man, that was some attack. I've never seen anything like that one, right? Right? That was good, even by your high standard, right? That was a hell of an attack. But we have a great country. We have tremendous leaders. We have a fantastic cabinet. We have unbelievable bench. And one of them is Attorney General Pam Bondi, who may be here. Where's Pam? Is she here? Where? Where are you, Pam? Where? See, she wants to keep it nice and low key. You're really catching fire, by the way, Pam. You know, they were saying about Kristi Noem yesterday. I did the Super Bowl interview. Sir, are you going to relieve Kristi Noem of her duties? No. Oh. I said, why would I do that? We have the strongest border in the history of our country. We have the best crime numbers we've ever had. Going back to the year 1900, that's 125 years, we have the lowest crime numbers, despite the fact that this horrible, world's worst president, this is the worst president we've ever had, Biden. He had no idea he was president, so he doesn't take it personally. I don't want him to take it personally. Fortunately, he has no idea what the hell I'm saying. And he's watching right now. He's happy with what I just said. Okay. This is what we had running our country. But no, he was our worst president. We had some bad ones. We had Obama was very bad, terrible divider of our country. He was a divider. And believe it or not, we're bringing the country together. You know what's bringing it together? Tremendous success. We're having tremendous success. We have more investment being made in our country now than any country has ever had by many times. You go back 10 years, a certain country, not us, 3 trillion. We have in 11 months, because the 12th month is coming out next week, we have $18 trillion of investment coming in. The biggest ever was 3 many years ago. And one of the reasons for it is Secretaries Doug Burgum and Doug Collins. They are drilling like, you know, my whole thing was drill, baby, drill. Where are they sitting? I love those 2 guys. Sit, come on, stand up. And is Catherine there? That's Catherine. Yes. Hi, Catherine. Chris. What they are drilling like nobody. I spoke with Chris yesterday, Doug. I said, how we do, sir? We're drilling more oil than anybody's ever drilled by double, right? By double. We're doing it. That's why I was in Iowa last week with the farmers who were doing very well. We just handed them $12 billion out of tariff money because they were taken advantage of by foreign countries, various foreign countries. And I said, how much was it that they got hurt for? 12 billion. I said, good, let's write them a check. I gave the farmers $12 billion. And they don't even want it. They just want to be treated fairly. But we're getting it from that, but we're getting it with nobody's ever in history, and we've never done it either, like anywhere close. We're taking out more energy out of our beautiful land, oil and gas, clean oil and gas. And I always say, clean, beautiful coal. You know, the only thing I told these 2 guys they have to do, because they're the greatest energy people in the world, the best. I said, when you mention the word coal, anytime you mention coal, C-O-A-L, anytime you mention it, has to be preceded by 2 words, clean and beautiful. So Doug was making a speech the other day, and I sort of tried to pass a note because he mentioned coal about 40 times, and he kept saying clean, beautiful coal. Clean. It really only works a few times, right? I said, no, when you say coal, clean, beautiful. You know, we buy all that wind from, we don't anymore. So we haven't improved anything in wind, right, Doug? Nothing, because it's, you know, just, it's a quick way to losing money, losing beauty, losing your fields, killing your birds. And other than that, it doesn't work. And Europe is getting, you know, Europe is so bad with the windmills, they're destroying their country with wind. And I was over there, it's not even recognizable what they've done. They've got a big problem on their hands between immigration and energy. Europe is destroying itself, and they better get smart. And I love them all. I'm friends with everyone of every country over there. I've helped them a lot. Got the GDP up from 2% to 5%, which is, you know, for spending, for military spending. Nobody thought that was possible. Nobody thought 2% was possible. Got them to 5%. But it's not recognizable, Europe. If you go through the different cities, it's a very sad thing. And I tell it, I went over to Davos, they invited me. And when I left, they said, that may have been the stupidest invitation we ever gave to somebody, Switzerland. But they have to, I just say it like it is, they're destroying their country. Their energy is ridiculous, what they've done. And the immigration is, I'm telling you, it's a place where many of these countries are not recognizable, and I'd like to see them straighten it out. Very soon, it's going to be impossible for them to straighten it out. We have our director of national and international intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's doing a great job. Where's Tulsi? She took a lot of heat 2 days ago because she went in at Pam's insistence. She went in and she looked at votes that want to be checked out from Georgia. They say, why is she doing it? Right, Pam? Why is she doing it? Because Pam wanted her to do it. And you know why? Because she's smart. And they said, well, this has to do, her position has to do, it's really not so, but her position has to do with international. I say, well, the same people that said that, they've been saying Russia has been screwing our elections, okay? So let's assume Russia had something to do with it. They say, no, Russia didn't have. So now they're saying Russia had nothing to do with it. Because if I say Russia, that it's perfectly fine. But you could add China and about 5 other countries to it. But she's done a great job, and Pam has done a fantastic job, and we appreciate it both. I haven't seen you in a couple of days. And I have one of the greatest negotiators. I'm so proud of him. He's a great negotiator. He's smart and respected by everybody. Jameson Greer, U.S. Trade. Where is Jameson? He's around here someplace. Thank you, Jameson. Boy, he's good. We have a great team. We have a great economic team, a great military team. We have Raisin Cain helps Pete. Raisin Cain, General Cain, he wiped out ISIS in 3 weeks. I was told by General Mattis and General Milley, sir, it will take 5 years. I said, what? Sir, it'll take 5 years. I said, you mean we have the best equipment in the world, and we're fighting guys that use bad rifles, knives preferably. They're very good with a knife, but a knife shouldn't do it. And I said, why? And I flew over to Iraq, and I met a guy named Cain. I came out of the plane, and there's a handsome general standing there. I had 3 generals. I went there to find out why the hell we couldn't win the war. Why aren't we winning the war against ISIS? They've been, playing games with us. So I wanted to see, and that's where I met Raisin Cain. I said, what's your first name? Raisin, sir. They call me Raisin. I said, what the hell kind of a name is that? Right? We've learned a lot about him. Now we get it. In this very quiet manner, he's brutal. Just ask Venezuela. Ask Iran. They're negotiating now. They don't want us to hit them. We have a big fleet going over to Iran. But so Raisin was there at the bottom of the plane. What's your name? Raisin. What's your last name? Cain. I said, so your name is, let's get this straight. Your name is Raisin Cain, right? Yes, sir. That's what they call me. You're the guy I'm looking for. And then he said, sir, if you'd like, you can go and sleep. It's a 20-hour trip. If you'd like, you can go and sleep. We have quarters prepared for you. I said, no, I don't have to sleep. I've been on a plane sleeping for I'm sleeping the plane. I don't sleep on planes. I don't like sleeping on planes, I like looking out the window watching for missiles and enemies, actually. But he said, sir, we have a place prepared for you, and we can meet after you've rested. I said, no. Let's go right now. So we did that. And I said to him, they tell me it's going to take 5 years to defeat ISIS. No, sir. I said, well, how long would it be, General Cain? Sir, we can do it in 4 weeks. So what? We can do it in 4 weeks, sir. And I should have maybe a couple of weeks left over. You can do it in less than 4 weeks? Yes, sir. I said, well, how come they tell me, our television generals, as I call them, two very poor generals. These guys, they look nice. They were nice guys. They didn't have what it took, believe me. Yeah, some people have that. They don't have what it takes no matter what. I said, how come they tell me it's 4 to 5 years? And he said, well, I don't want to speak badly about anybody, so I'd rather not comment on that. I found that to be nice, okay? But I said, all right, tell me how you're going to do it. Well, sir, we use this one base here, and we're hundreds of miles away. And by the time the planes get to the target, they have to come back and refuel. We're too far. I said, why do we do that? Because we don't want to offend any of the other countries. I said, we have a lot of portable airports, right, Pete? We have portable airports all over the Middle East, runways that are portable. You put them down, you take them up. We have equipment. Nobody has the stuff we have. We have airports that look better than Kennedy Airport. And they're built in sand. And it took us about 2 minutes to build them. No, the equipment is incredible. You can land any plane on them, right? Portable. And we've got many of them, sir. We have to use them. I said, why don't we? Because we didn't want to offend another country. I said, let me ask you a question. You're in the middle of the desert. Would another country know if we're taking off from some strip in the desert? They would have no idea, sir. They don't have radar. They don't have anything. So he explained it. So we want to hit them, sir, from 17 different locations. And we want to hit them left. And we hit them, here we go. And we want to hit them right. Sure, and we want to hit them from the top, and we want to hit them from the bottom. East, west, north, south. Sir, they won't know what the hell hit, and we'll knock them out. We did it politically correct. 5 years, we'd call up the country head and we'd tell them, we'd like to attack ISIS today. As soon as the call was made, they'd call ISIS and tell them, you're going to be attacked, get the hell out of it. This is what we were doing for years, not with Raising Cane and not with Pete Hegseth, right, Pete? We don't do that. And we have a little different method. So I went back to Washington and I said, you know, this guy, he said, and then I checked up on him and he was so respected. I said, he's really like respected. And I called him back. I said, General, go at it. Do good luck. God bless you. And he said, I say that to the people going out every time. And they say it when we give the okay for like the attack on Venezuela or the attack on Iran. He says, I say, we all say, we're all in a room together watching. We watch it. We watch these attacks. We always say, God bless you. Have a safe journey. It's a dangerous journey. These are dangerous journeys. Flying through the middle of Iran, they know you're coming, and you're in a B-2 bomber, the most incredible thing, and they weren't able to see it because it's stealth. So good, we ordered 20 more of them, brand new, updated version. I actually said, don't get the updated, just take the one you have. They said, no, sir, the new one's even better. We have a military, nobody has a military like we do. I rebuilt it, by the way, during my first term. I mean, I think it's one of the best things I did. I rebuilt the military during the first term, and now we're really rebuilding the military, right? But the bottom line, I called him, I said, so you think you can do it, General? Yes, sir, I can do it. And it was over in 3 weeks. It was incredible, and I mean over. And then the election's rigged, and I wasn't there, and for 4 years, ISIS rebuilt. And they have a little bit of ISIS now again. And we knocked the hell out of them the other day in Nigeria because they were killing Christians. You know about that. They were killing Christians. So you can't do that. When Christians come under attack, they know they're going to be attacked violently and viciously by President Trump. I know it's not a nice thing to say, but that's the way it is. So we're also delighted to welcome visiting leaders and dignitaries from more than 110 countries. They're here, and including one of my favorite people, President Bukele of El Salvador. He has been so incredible. He has been such a great ally of this country. Thank you very much. Such a great ally. He's, some of you have seen, he operates rather large prisons, like prisons at so large you can't see from one side to the other unless you have perfect 20/20 eyesight with binoculars. That's how long and big. And they do a job. They do a very humane job, but they're very strong prisons. And we send a lot of the people that we capture, the murderers, the drug dealers, the people that came into our country illegally and have already committed massive crimes. We had 11,888 murderers, and many of them are in your prisons right now, right? And he does a fantastic job. I mean, he really sounds like a different kind of, this is a religious breakfast. You're going to walk away and say, he's the meanest son of a gun I've ever seen. But I'm not. I just want to keep our country safe. It's very simple. We have to keep our country safe. So I want to thank you, Mr. President, for a great, amazing job you do with our people, too. They work together so well. Appreciate it. Not easy. This prayer breakfast comes at a special time for our country as we prepare to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence. And we're also very shortly going to have the Olympics and the World Cup. And, I got them. I was the one that got the Olympics, and I was the one that got, and I was so upset because I got them. I tried to move them up, but I couldn't. And my first term, I was getting them, and Barack Hussein Obama would refuse to call the Olympics because, in all fairness, they took advantage of him. Remember, he went there. He flew all the way to whatever country, some beautiful country in Europe, and he made his presentation, and he ended up coming in last. And that shouldn't happen to a president. You know, if you're a president, you have to get a wink. I'll go there, but are you going to give us the Olympics? Otherwise, I'm not going there. I don't want to. So he sat there, made a very nice presentation. He came in last, came in fourth place. So he hated those people. He won't say that, I don't think, but I'll say it for him. And so he refused to be involved with the Olympics. I got a call from Democrats. The Democrat mayor of Los Angeles called me. So we have a problem. We have a president that refuses to call the Olympic Committee. And I just won the presidency. I was president-elect. And so I wasn't even in office. Then I called this gentleman from, I think, Denmark. Can you believe? They own a large piece of ice that we're negotiating for. Extremely, it's the biggest piece of ice in the world. The world's largest piece of ice. They'll never run out of water. But I called the president, I called the various people, but the head of the Olympic Committee, very nice guy, and I couldn't get him off the phone. He was starving for love because nobody called him. They just wanted to know from the president, does the United States want the Olympics? They didn't want to choose the United States and then, have somebody say like, we don't care. I said, I desperately want it. We're going to get it, blah, blah, blah. And I spoke to him, I spoke to other people, and I got it. I called up the Democrat from Los Angeles, happened to be the mayor of Los Angeles. He was devastated. He couldn't get all they wanted to do is have an acknowledgement from the head of the country. Wouldn't do it. But I did it. We got the Olympics and we got the World Cup. But then I don't know if Johnny's here from the World Cup, but that guy's great. He's great, my friend. But I got them both and I was really upset because I got them. And then I said, think of it, I won't be president because they're in the following term. Because, when you get the Olympics, usually it's 10 years in advance. And I said, so I did all that good work. It wasn't that easy. I got it. Then I got the World Cup. They both were happening now in a year, another year and a half, a year, right after the 250. I didn't get 250. I tried to claim it a couple of times. I said, and I produced 250-year anniversary. It was my deal. I got 250 years, and the press hit me hard on that one, so I gave that up immediately. But I happened to be president during that, so think of it. So I'm the president, and I got these two things, and I said, you know what? I got the Olympics to come to the United States, and I got the World Cup to come to the United States, and I probably won't even be invited to be there. And I was really angry. And then they rigged the election, and then I said, I'm coming back. And I got the Olympics, and I got the World Cup, right? And at some point, I'm going to get right back onto the teleprompter, and you're going to say, that was a wonderful speech. On that momentous day in 1776. This is so much easier. It takes real talent to do the other. The other is much more talent, but that's why we're president, I think. But we have very important words to say, and this is such an important group. And we have plenty of time to say it, because when it comes to religion, I have all the time. I'm one of the few that say we have all the time in the world. But on that momentous day in 1776, history changed forever when our founders proclaimed the immortal truths that echoed around the world and down all the way through time. They declared that all of us are made free and equal by the hand of our Creator. A lot of presidents refuse to say that. They refuse to say that. Some refuse. Some major politicians refuse to say the word God. They don't want to say it. I say it. That we are endowed with our sacred rights to life, liberty, and not by government, but by God Almighty Himself. And those words rang out from Philadelphia and launched a revolution, not just in America, but in the hearts of all humanity. the principles of the Declaration of Independence, which is one of three, sitting right beautifully in the Oval Office. I took it out of the vaults, and it's beautiful. It's beautifully protected, and it's a magnificent document. I stare at it all the time, and I read it as often as I can. A true, brilliant work of art. They've stirred the spirit of patriots in every nation, liberated millions from tyranny, and lifted billions from poverty, and it's doing now more than ever before. We're doing better than this country's ever done in 1 year. Think of what we can do. We just have to keep it going, Mr. Speaker, if you don't mind. Okay, got to keep it going. But no, and the Democrats admit this. No president in his first year has ever done the things we've done. When you think we've gotten the largest tax cut in history, larger than even in the first term. But we've done something else, and I think we've brought back spirit to our country. You know, 2 years ago, you couldn't get anybody to go into the military. They laughed at you when they said they didn't respect our country. They didn't respect our president. They thought he was a joke. They thought our country was a joke. Other countries laughed at us and took advantage of us with tariffs, and we weren't allowed to charge, and they were allowed to charge, but we are allowed to charge. And I hope we get that Supreme Court decision, because we have taken in hundreds of billions of dollars of money. We're a rich nation again, doing what other nations have done to us for many, many years. But the biggest thing is what's happened to me. It's the spirit of our country, and that goes for religion, but it also goes for the military. We couldn't recruit anybody to go into our great military. We were the worst I think it's ever been 2.5 years ago under the Sleepy Joe Biden administration. I call them Crooked Joe and Sleepy Joe. I find them to be equal, actually. I do polls. Which is better, Crooked Joe or Sleepy Joe? And they poll about even. So I use both. But we have now the greatest recruiting that we've ever had. Everybody wants to be in the military. We're hot as a pistol. We couldn't get anybody to go into not me, the last administration. Nobody wanted to be in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the Coast Guard, Space Force, which is turning out to be good. I'm so proud of it, because I'm the father of Space Force. I'm the one that wanted it. So, but we couldn't get people. They couldn't get people to go into any of them, including our police departments and our fire departments. They weren't proud of our nation. They had no spirit. And now we have had the single greatest recruitment in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. We have waiting lists of people wanting to get in. In fact, if we want to expand the military, Mr. Speaker, this would be a very good time to do it. We have so many people want to get into the military that, we also won in the Supreme Court, as you know, based on merit. It was a merit, and we take people based on merit. Like, we prefer a strong person in the military as opposed to a weak person. We prefer somebody that's a strong, powerful person with extremely good vision that can shoot a rifle very well, to a person that's extremely weak, non-muscular, can't shoot a rifle, has no idea where the hell he is. We have a military where they all look like Tom Cruise, only bigger. Now we hire on merit now. And that goes for colleges. People get into colleges now. If you have great boards and great marks and you work, and then somebody else gets in that's not nearly as qualified, now it's a merit system. It's tough in one way, but our country was built on a system of merit. And then we went away from it a number of years ago. We got it back. That was a brave decision by the Supreme Court, I'll say. And it's tough on some people. It makes people work harder, I think. But we have to base our country on merit, or we won't have a country. We were going in such a bad direction. It's incredible. And I give a lot of credit on that one to the Supreme Court. And they give me some bad ones, too. but I give a lot of credit. That took a lot of courage to do it, but they understood it was the right thing to do to be a great nation. However, I think, and I may be wrong, but I don't think so, because I've watched a lot and I study a lot. You have to have religion. You have to have it. You have to have faith. You have to have God. And thankfully, as we gather today, there are many signs that religion is coming back, and now it's no longer signs. It's just coming back. It's coming back so strong. You know, your churches are filling up. You didn't have that 2 years ago. It was hurt by COVID, but it really, and they treated you terribly. The Democrats treated you terribly. Sorry, Mr. Congressman, but the truth is, I mean, they had pastors holding services outside. The people were standing 15 feet away from each other, and everybody was arrested. You know, it was like they ran it. You know, they always like to say, Trump is a dictator. They love that. I'm not a dictator. But they were like dictators. They were like the Gestapo. They were arresting people for going to church, and they were arresting people and treating people like horribly. And I made a lot of amends to those people. Those people were treated very badly for wanting to go to church. It had a huge impact, negative impact on churches, but the churches are now coming back stronger than ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, actually. So you're all hot, okay? You know, it's like the king of Saudi Arabia. He said, and you probably heard me say it, I love it. I was with him. And he said, a year and a half ago, he said, you know, a year and a half ago, he said, we thought your country was dead. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. Nobody even close. I think you can say that, Mr. I mean, El Salvador is very hot, but I think we can say that, right? We have the Congo here. I don't know. The Congo is hot. We just ended a war. One of our 8 wars that we ended, right? He's a great guy, too. He's a great guy. You talk about people that suffered. Those people suffered. In 2025, more copies of the Holy Bible were sold in the United States than at any time in the last 100 years. Now, how about that? How about that? Did you know that, Mr. Speaker? You know, Mike Johnson's a very religious person, and he does not hide it. He'll say to me sometimes at lunch, sir, may we pray? I say, excuse me? We're having lunch. You know, it's okay with me. But he's a very religious person, and he is popular, and he's doing an unbelievable job. So I think God is watching over you. God is watching over him. I don't know about me. So I hang around with him because I feel I'm protected a little bit. In the last 12 months, young Americans attended church at nearly twice the rate as they did 4 years ago. And many churches, you see the stats, I mean, people are talking about it. The radical left is not happy about it. Many Democrats are not happy about it. This, by the way, will be the last year the Democrats show up to this event, I tell you. But I got to say, how the hell do you vote for these people? But some churches are seeing a 30%, 50%, or even 70% increase in the number of converts and also the number of people going to church every week. To support this exciting renewal this morning, I'm pleased to announce that on May 17th, 2026, that we're inviting Americans from all across the country to come together on our national mall to pray, to give thanks, and we are going to do something that everyone said, like, that's tough. We're going to rededicate America as one nation under God. You know, a lot of people... Yeah, thank you very much. That's what I mean by That's what I mean by the Spirit. It's so incredible to see it. I see it so much. I've never seen anything like it in 1 year. I thought it would take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to be where we are. We've done it in, really 10 months. We're at 12, but now it's just getting to a level that we've never reached before as a country. But that includes religion. And maybe that's part of the reason that we're doing so well. There's such great spirit. It's all spirit, and it includes religion. I've always said, you just can't have a great country if you don't have religion. You have to believe in something. You have to believe that what we're doing, there's a reason for it. There has to be a reason for it. We're all working and we're behaving. I behave because I'm afraid not to, okay? Because I don't want to get in trouble. No, it's such a positive thing, and people are starting to see it, and they go into church and they're meeting people, and families are developing. It's really, the things are happening in our country right now. And we have to get the bad ones out. We have to do it. We can't let that happen. And we're being very tough in law and order and crime. And I hate to say it because it doesn't seem to go hand in hand, but you can't have people going to churches and coming out and have criminals taking advantage and doing things that nobody wants to even describe. And that's not happening anymore. Washington, D.C. is a very safe city now. When I took over, Washington, D.C. was a death trap. Many people were being killed. 2, 3 a week, they were being killed. Come in from Iowa to look at the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson, the George Washington, the monument. And they called the parents, "I'm sorry, sir, your son has been killed." What? Your son has been killed. That doesn't happen. We took out 2,000 monsters out of Washington, D.C. It's not just that we have the troops and they are central casting. I love them. I think, to me, it looks much more beautiful. You walk down the street, you have 3 guys that are 6'6" and angry looking people, but they actually are very nice. They're angry when they see criminals. That's all. They get angry. They took Tren de Aragua. And honestly, I don't want to say this, but they beat the crap out of them. They beat the crap out of them. They found that they were doing bad things, and Tren de Aragua didn't want anything to do with these guys. Then we put them in the paddy wagon. We took them back to where they came from. You know that. But we took out over 2,000 hardcore criminals. 2% of the population produces 90% of the violent crime. Think of that. Think of that. And Washington now is a very safe place. I get it all the time. I go into the White House and people that work in the White House come up, "Sir, I want to thank you so much." Young woman, man. They say, "I walk to work." I couldn't have walked to work. I wouldn't have even thought to walk to work before. They walk to work. The place is booming. Restaurants are opening up. The restaurants were almost going to be all closed. They would have been all closed. You couldn't even go. Even if you got there, the restaurant would be robbed with people sitting there. "Hold up your hands, everybody. Give us your money." And then they'd whack people with the butt of a gun. And Washington is a very safe city. We have almost no crime. And it's a miracle, but it took place very quickly. And it's the same thing for every other place we've gone. In Louisiana, New Orleans, I got a call from the governor, Jeff Landry, great guy, great governor. He said, "Could you send the troops? Because I'll tell you what, this place is out of control." I did, and in a period of 2 weeks, we got crime down by 25%. Now it's been about 7 or 8 weeks. We have it down 77%, and within another month, they're not going to have any crime, and they're not going to have any crime in that wonderful city of joy that people go up and down. Right? They're not going to have any crime there. It's amazing. Memphis, Tennessee is another one. The mayor works with us. And, it's nice when they work with us. It's just so much easier. Sometimes we can't work with them. Like in Minnesota, they won't work with us, but we've still driven crime down 25%. If we didn't have to fight this horrible governor and this horrible fake mayor, Fry, this is the Constitution of the United States. People don't want to be mugged. They don't want to have a murderer living next door that was, killed 3 people in a certain country and is now living beautifully here. Because generally speaking, if they've killed in another country, they're not going to be the best of citizens. And they're rough people. Remember in the campaign, I used to say that their criminals make our criminals look like babies. It's true. These are some of the meanest, most vicious people. They only gave us the worst. They don't send, they're very smart. Guys like the president over here, El Salvador. He's sent us a few. I don't want to talk to him about it. But he sends us some real bad ones. He's not, look, you just say it, we'll do it more positive. Isn't it true that you will not send your good people to the United States? Wouldn't you say? Look at him. He doesn't know. He said, what's going on here? But no, he sends bad people to the United States. And I'm going to talk to him after this. But I love him. He's done a great job, right? They're smart people. And they're very streetwise. When you're running some of these countries in South America, Latin America, you got to be streetwise. You got to be smart. He's very smart, very streetwise. But these leaders of those countries, they're not sending. They cherish their good people. They only send us their bad people. But we have done some job, and we have, in Minnesota, crime's down. Just despite that, we have to fight these lunatics over there that are stealing money, by the way, also. I believe it's actually a cover-up of the $19 billion at least that they've stolen. I actually think they do this as a cover-up. Under the Trump administration, we're standing strongly behind Americans of faith, stopping the attacks on our values, our traditions, defending religious liberty, like no president. I believe like no president has ever done before. I do believe that. We got rid of the sinister Johnson Amendment so that pastors can speak the truth and they can speak it without having their tax-exempt status revoked. I was with a large group of ministers, pastors, priests, rabbis. We had a group of people that were a great group. And I asked them for help. Paula White was there, remember, Trump Tower at the top of the building, beautiful building. And they were so enthusiastic for the first election. They were so enthusiastic. And I didn't want to be pushy because I'm not a pushy individual. But I didn't want to be overly aggressive. So I figured I'll ask them in the second meeting. So the second meeting came, the similar group, ministers. We had Muslim leaders there. We had everybody there. But there were about 55 of them. Beautiful boardroom on the top floor, tall building, beautiful building in New York. And I said, I'd like to ask, and they were so good. They, sir, we love you. You're great, blah, blah, blah. I figured this was going to be the easiest endorsement I ever got. And I said, I'd love to have your endorsement. And it was like ice. It was like death. I said, what the hell? What happened? And I said, could I ask what's going on? You were really nice, and now you've just clammed up, and you're like scared. And one of them stood up, that Paula knows very well. He said, sir, we're very concerned because if we speak about religion, if we ever endorsed you as an example, we would lose our tax-exempt status immediately, and our church would go out of business. He said, what's that all about? And it was the Johnson Amendment. Lyndon Johnson had a fight with somebody in Dallas or Houston with a minister, and he didn't like him, and they didn't like each other. And the minister thought he was terrible, and I guess he didn't like the minister. And he was a powerful president. He knew how to do things, and he got something passed called the Johnson Amendment, which basically takes away your right of speech. And people like me, and people like a lot of people, they want to hear from ministers. They want to hear from priests. They want to hear from them. And you were restricted from talking about very important things like who to elect. If you said that, you were gone. You couldn't do it, even if you said it in a very nice way because they were going to be better for the church. And we worked hard, and we're going to make that permanent pretty soon, I think, Mike. But we worked hard at getting rid of the Johnson Amendment. It's gone as far as you can say anything you want. Now, if you do say something bad about Trump, I will change my mind, and I I will have your tax-exempt status immediately revoked. If I go into one of these churches, we will stop Trump. You ever hear some of these guys? They said, not too many, I can tell you, because we won like 94% of the vote. People got it. People got it. We had a lot of people pretending. They pretended to be very religious, but I don't believe they were. But the people ultimately got it. You know, you have a Robert Jeffers. I don't know if he's here. Is he here, Robert? Is he here? Robert Jeffers was on television in 2016 when I just sort of announced I was running. And he said, I know every candidate very well. There was 18 candidates, me and 17 others. He said, I know every candidate very well. And I know Trump a little bit, but he may not be as good with the Bible as some of them. He may not have read the Bible as much as some of them. In fact, he may not have ever read the Bible, but he will be a much stronger messenger for us, and he will get things done that no other man has the ability to get done. And I endorse him fully. And I said, you know, that guy, I didn't want to admit anything, but that was very interesting. And I think we've got more done, Paula, than anybody could have ever gotten done. What we've done, nobody else would have been able to do. We reinstated also service members who were thrown out of our military over religious objections. That was a big deal. They thrown out over religious objections to vaccine mandates and all of the other things. They used any excuse they could. We restored those patriots to their former ranks with full pay. We've given them full pay. They were taken advantage of. And I really think it was over religion. I actually think that they used the vaccines as a way of really punishing people over religion. I don't know how you can vote for these people. I really don't. I don't know how you can. We passed the largest ever expansion of school choice so that every parent has a chance to send their child to a school that shares their values. And today I'm also pleased to announce that the Department of Education is officially issuing its new guidance to protect the right to prayer in our public schools. That's a big deal. Now, the Democrats will sue us, but we'll win it. We'll win it. They'll sue us. They sue us for everything. I'm the most sued human being in history. They've sued me for everything. I got impeached twice over nothing, but the Republicans were great. Just wiped them right out. But I got impeached. I got indicted. Wiped them out. There's never been, to the best of our knowledge, any politician that's ever been indicted who won an election. Very popular politicians got indicted, they lost. I got indicted so much, I got tired of calling my wife. I'd say, darling, I was just indicted again. She said, oh, darling. What? Oh, what does that mean? You know, she's very elegant. You saw that from the movie. She's not into the world of indictments. It's not Melania. Now she doesn't know what an indictment, it's not her deal. Her movie, by the way, big success. That movie is a big success. Yeah, I called up so many times. I'd say, honey, I just got indicted again. Don't worry about it. But think of it many times. And then they say, Donald Trump is using the Justice Department to get even. And I don't. But wouldn't I have a right to? Think of it. There's never been in history a president treated like I got treated. But they say I use it. And it's amazing. I did that interview yesterday, and they said that. They said the question, are you using the Justice Department for your own personal gain? I said, they indicted me 87 times. It's the most incredible thing. But we don't do that, Pam, do we? Huh? We do what's right. We do what's right. And Pam does it. We have great people. We have great people working there. But we do what's right. We expanded the Mexico City policy to stop taxpayer dollars from being used to promote radical gender ideology all around the world. No other president would do that. No other president would do it. And my administration also rejoined the Geneva Consensus Declaration to affirm the right to sovereign nations to protect life, defend the family, and to be faithful to God. Nobody ever did that. I signed an executive order to slash federal funding for any public school that pushes transgender insanity. This is crazy. On our youth. Who would think about that? Who would think if you go back 15 years, you're talking about, and I stopped the mutilation of children. The mutilation, the word is mutilation. They mutilize, the mutilation of children. I stopped it. Who would think if you said that 15 years ago, they'd say, what the hell is he talking? Is he crazy? It's levels you've never seen. We're still fighting it, but transgender for everybody. They want transgender for everybody. We stopped it. And we also, very importantly, we got men out of women's sports. It's enough of that nonsense. We created the White House Faith Office, first time ever, which is its 1-year anniversary this month, and headed up with Paul and Jenny and some incredible people. And we created the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty. We do a lot. That's a great commission, by the way. That's a phenomenal commission. I signed it. Everybody wanted to be on that commission. That was really something. That was a good sign, too. And we have incredible people on it. I signed an executive order to combat the vile scourge of anti-Semitism, which is really raging, rising. Surprising. Nobody thought they'd see that. Happened very, very rapidly during the 4 years of Biden. And I set up an official Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias, because you do have a lot of that. They don't talk about that. They're always talking about other religions and other different, but a lot of anti-Christian bias. And you see it going in foreign countries. I mentioned Nigeria. There are others. We're hitting them very hard. My administration is confronting head-on the militant and really intolerant campaign that tried to drive religious believers out of public life and out of society. I mean, religious leader, and now religious leaders are respected as much or more as any leader of any type anywhere in the world. Religious leaders are respected again, and that's the way we have to have it. They really are respected again. They were having a hard time. They were having a very hard time. The last 4 years previous to the one that we served, the last 4 years were brutal on religious leaders. They were brave. Some were very brave. Some couldn't take it, and a lot of people understand it. Some were brave, really brave. The Department of Justice recently charged 9 individuals for storming a church in Minnesota during a worship service and trampling on Americans' First Amendment rights. I watched that tape, and that was violent. I saw the people sitting there, Pam, and they were scared. Some were scared and some were holding up their hands like, I believe in God. But they were violent people. Screaming, your parents are Nazis. Your parents are Nazis. The people are sitting, and I thought the minister was great. He was so calm and good. They're screaming at him, terrible, right in the middle of a church service. It's got to be illegal. I mean, Pam is doing it. I'm not doing it, but Pam is doing it. And I'll tell you, people are happy with the job that's taking place because they're bad people. They're bad people. You have one Trump hater in particular that I watched his performance. It was terrible. They try and use freedom of the press and all this to get out of a criminal event. But that was a horrible thing to witness. And if we allowed that to go on, you wouldn't be able to have a church. No, everybody would be afraid to go to church. And that we are not going to allow, are we, huh? And in the audience today is an incredible woman who reminds us what a precious gift of religious liberty we have here in America, a tradition that sadly is not shared in so many places in the world, and even even in our country, and our media is so bad. If we had a good media, it would be so much easier. But think of it, we're doing this all with a really corrupt and bad media. Miriam Ibrahim is a Christian from Sudan, and I'm working hard to end that war. We're very close to getting it done. That'll be number 9. If we don't get Russia, Ukraine first, but we're working hard to end that whole war. We're very close to doing it. We've almost done it. In 2014, a Sharia court in that country sentenced her to 100 lashes and death for marrying a Christian man. At the time, she was 8 months pregnant with a daughter. Miriam was ordered to renounce her faith in Christ, but she refused to do so and gave birth to that daughter, Maya, while she was in shackles, being beaten and living in a condition that nobody in this room would even be able to imagine. Believers all over the planet rallied to Miriam's cause, prayed for her protection, and successfully pressured for her release. I did that. I did that with one phone call, actually. And she had such support. It was so easy. And when I explained it to the powers that be, yes, sir, we will do it right away. I just wish I knew earlier. But it's a big world with a lot of people. Miriam and Maya are here this morning and now live safely in America, where we protect Christians. We don't kill them, we protect them. And you're getting protected better now than you've ever been protected before. So Miriam and Maya, thank you. Where are you? Are they here? They're here someplace. Where are you? Please stand up. Stand up, thank you. That's great. A lot of bravery. No administration in modern history has done more to confront the plight of persecuted Christians around the world than we have. With us, it's a mission. It's actually a mission. On Christmas Day, in close coordination with the government of Nigeria, we worked with them, but they got to get tougher. I ordered powerful airstrikes to decimate the ISIS terrorists who have been slaughtering Christians in that country by the thousands. It's not even believable. We hit them so hard, they still don't know what the hell happened. And we were going to do it on a different day. I said, no, do it on Christmas, so they understand it. Remember, Christmas was when I ran in 2015, when I announced, I said, we're going to bring back Christmas, because the word Christmas was almost gone, and we did. People use Christmas anymore. We brought back the word Christmas. They didn't want to use it, and we're using it again. But I specifically told Pete, I said, hit him on Christmas Day. Not earlier and not later, right, Pete? And man, did he hit him. So then we hit him again recently. We hit him again pretty hard. But we're honored to be joined today by the First Lady of Nigeria, who also happens to serve as a Christian pastor at the largest church in Nigeria, a very respected woman. First Lady, please, where are you? Thank you very much. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Very respected person, too. Thank you. I'm also working tirelessly to end dangerous conflicts and help move past ancient hatreds. In October, I ended the war in Gaza, saving hundreds of thousands of lives. It's amazing. We have peace in the Middle East, by the way. First time in 3,000 years. We have peace. There are little embers, but it's nothing much. You know, we got back the last hostage, dead hostage. We got back all the hostages now, all of them. We got the 20, but we got many, we got hundreds back before that. But we got back the last hostage, dead hostage, and Hamas helped us get it back. It was a big, big statement. Now they have to disarm. Some people say they won't, but they will. And if they don't, they're going to not be around any longer. But they agreed to disarm. As the Bible tells us, blessed are the peacemakers. That's true. The peacemakers are very important. But you can only have peace, I find, through strength. If you don't have strength, peace is very hard. And we have strength. In 1 year, I've ended 8 raging wars, such as Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Armenia and Azerbaijan. These are all wars that were, President Putin called me up on Azerbaijan and Armenia. He said, I've been working 10 years to get that war. How did you do it? And I got it done. I got it done. 2 really good leaders. All they knew was fighting each other. They were fighting each other for many years. That's all they knew. And we got it worked out pretty quickly. A few months ago, right here in Washington, we signed a historic peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda, which provides the first ever pathway to peace to end a 30-year, unbelievably violent conflict. And we're joined today by a very, very brave and wonderful man, the president of the Congo, President. The President, would you stand up, please? You are so... President, thank you. And you really are. You're a brave man. I know what you've been through. I know that one very well. That was a hard one. That was many, many years. And it's working out okay. Nothing's easy. Every once in a while, I have to call them both back, but it's working out okay. It's going to work out good. But you are brave, and we appreciate you being here. Great honor. Great honor. Good guy. Together, he and I have also signed the largest minerals deal in U.S.-Africa history. And, you know, Congo has magnificent land. It's incredible land, and he's doing very well with it. So we appreciate it. But we've signed the largest deal with some of our big companies, and they're going in. So thank you very much, Mr. President. And you call me for anything, right? Thank you. And just in closing, scriptures always tell us that blessed are the pure in heart. I don't know if that applies to me necessarily. I'm not so sure. I don't know, Paula, does that apply to me? I'm not sure. I try. But we're joined this morning by 2 incredible young American patriots and believers who show that, you know, that's so true. Last summer, Emma Foltz and London Smith were both camp counselors at Camp Mystic, the Christian girls' camp in Central Texas. One of the worst things I've ever seen. On that fateful night, 20 inches of rain fell in a matter of minutes. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And the river rose 20 feet in literally 30 minutes, leaving utter devastation and destruction. Emma bravely helped lead 14 precious little girls to safety. And London, seeing the water rise, gathered with other girls at the top of their building and prayed. They just prayed and prayed. And as they prayed, the water miraculously stopped rising. Just a few inches from their feet, it was going to overwhelm them. Anybody in the cabins were gone. Anybody in the cabins were gone. Who would have known? They thought the cabins were the safe place to be. It wasn't. Then the water began to retreat, and many hours later, they were finally rescued. As you know, many young people died that night. When asked what she hopes others to take away from her story, London said, this life is not promised. Our breath every minute is not guaranteed. Because of that, we shouldn't take life for granted, and we should just live it well. I mean, it was just an amazing statement. I saw her make the statement, young girl making that statement. Incredible, actually, a very complex statement, smart, but true. London, I know exactly what you mean, and I want to thank you both for being here and your remarkable, incredible courage. It's been really amazing. And if you could at least stand, you know, I said, would you like to speak? And they said, well, we're a little shy, but you know what? You may be shy, but you're very brave. Would you please stand? I went to the camp a few days after the flood. It's with First Lady, and it was devastating. I met parents. It was just this could be nothing worse than that. It was a horrible, horrible moment. Almost 250 years after our founding fathers took one of the greatest leaps of faith in human history, the story of Emma and London shows us that faith of the American people remains unbroken. Actually became stronger than ever. And it reminds us that prayers strengthen, prayers heal, prayer empowers, and prayer saves. Quite simply, prayer is America's superpower. It really is a superpower. And it always has been, and it always will be. And I have no doubt that with the love, devotion, and patriotism of the people in this room and our friends from all over the world, some great ones right here, we can make our country and the world a safer, stronger, more peaceful, and more faithful place than ever before. And it's all happening right before your very eyes. And I want to, again, thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you, everybody, very much. Thank you.
All right. I was waiting for that to go ahead and end so I could BS with y'all before I get up out of here. First off, can y'all hear me? I did unmute myself, right? Okay. First off, yeah, if y'all could please type in English, man. I really am not trying to read, I'm really not trying to have stuff in there. I don't know what it's being said. But as I'm sitting here, I'm lightweight laughing. Yeah, I wasn't trying to be a jerk. That's all. So I was sitting here thinking about something real fast. And then I might show you a quick video. Depends on who's around. But I definitely wanted to say what's up to you. But dude, I'm going to make y'all laugh real fast. To those that don't remember this, I hope Bot Boy's still in here. All right. Here we go. Who remembers this? Everybody talks about Trump, right? Who remembers this by any chance? Hold on. Pull this up. Look. Hold on, we gotta rewatch it again. Hold on. Watch this. He literally goes up right there. Bow. He goes up and sniffs the Pope, and the Pope's eyes open up. Like if I pause, if I try to get it any closer, he literally touches forehead to forehead. And if I tried, bro, that Pope's eyes got so big. He sniffed the Pope, y'all. He sniffed the Pope. I mean, could you imagine if that was Trump and he went in and sniffed the Pope? Bro, come on, dude. It's hilarious to me. I'm sitting here reading all this. He's incompetent, all this hilarious stuff. And yet, look at what we had. This is what we had, yo. You're kidding me, right? There's no way in a million years that that man in this picture right here sniffing the Pope, right, Janice, could have gotten up and just delivered the speech that we just heard. No way could he speak for over an hour straight. No way. But he can sniff the Pope. He can sniff the Pope. And then people were talking about pardons. Pardon me that Biden pardoned his own family. Jill, Hunter, why did he pardon them? You want to worry about some drug? What about the president's family? Y'all forget that? Y'all forget that the president pardoned his own family? Not just one person, but his family. Come on now. I told you to not. I told you, bro. I don't know what your language is, bro. You ain't gonna put that in my chat. Told you. I don't know you, bro. But I find that really hilarious. And then I want to show one more thing. I guess I'll do it. Maybe I will. Trump just spent an hour talking about nothing. So what? He spent an hour talking. Joe Biden couldn't even get out of his bed to come up the stairs. Dude, all he talked about was eating ice cream cones. Are you kidding me? You're joking, right? So anyways, I was watching some videos last night, and I came across this. Let me find it. Now, you want to know what people really think? Let's check this out real fast, you guys. This is a city hall meeting in Chicago. Listen to what these people have to say. Hold on. I might show it. I'm going to show it now, but if I end up showing it again, that's because there's only 85 people in here right now. And I actually want to see people. I want people to see the other side of it all. But let me find it again. Boom. All right. Let's peep this up real fast.
So it has already been determined that you don't follow the United States Constitution. And maybe that's perhaps because you're not a founding father and your name is not on the document. So perhaps if we show you something that your name is on, maybe you'll follow those rules. We got a rules of order and procedure, City Council, City of Chicago, for 2023 to 2027, with your name on it. However, we sit in here all the time and watch you violate our rights. We sit in here all the time and watch you allow City Council to violate our rights. Now we're gonna talk about this budget, about the strange things that's happening. Because again, your name was on this executive order of May 2023, this executive order for immigration, migrants, and refugee rights. You caused all this money to go to illegal immigrants, not Harold Washington. You going to be held.
By the way, I'm going to be
and
showing this
we want
again,
a forensic audit of the money that was spent on illegal immigration. You all are trying to do everything but that.
And
When in fact, that's where all the money went. So anything that you all pass It's not genuine. It's not honest because you're trying to cover up where our money actually went. Now, it's been some strange voting going on. Let's talk about the fact that Taliaferro and Lopez, Sergio Lopez, got extra money. Could it be because Byron Sergio Lopez wrote a letter on my behalf to help with my case? And so did Taliaferro. Could it be that they were told that they could get more votes if they blew my case? Whoa. Now, let's look at Alderman David Moore, who have been in here and listened to me talk about my probate all the time and haven't done anything. Could it be he planning a seminar with Lori and them, while at the same time selling me out? Because he's supposed to be getting a field house for his ward. We got something for you. Fridays, famous Friday, and we got another one. This is Chicago Flip Red. Chicago Red got you too. You got Chicago Red and you got Chicago Flip Red, and both of us getting that. So now, who's gonna be famous Friday? Who are this name real fast? Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your comments. However, your time has expired. Our next speaker is Sharon Abbott.
Brandon Johnson, first of all, I hate to break your heart. I didn't vote for you. I'm a lifelong conservative. Nevertheless, your job is to represent all of the people of Chicago and not your own personal interests. On May 15, 2020, you took your oath of office and solemnly swore to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that you would faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor to the best of your ability. The U.S. Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, states that the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of these against invasion. The preamble of the U.S. Constitution states that we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and provide for the common defense. Likewise, the Illinois Constitution reiterates that the people formed our government with its primary role being to ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the common defense. Brandon Johnson, you violated your oath of office. You have not supported the U.S. Constitution nor the Illinois Constitution. You have not protected the people of Chicago from invasion nor ensured domestic tranquility. You have also ignored the Declaration of Independence, which declares that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. No one appointed a monarch to rule over the people of Chicago. Rather, as mayor, your duty is to serve the public, and you are bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people. Members of City Council, you likewise took an oath of office to support the U.S. and Illinois Constitution. You are also bound by the parameters of the Constitution only to act by the consent of the people.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is David Mason.
We have to remember history, because the number one thing that we know for certain is that history always repeats itself. So, Mr. Johnson, I know that you can appreciate with me giving you a history lesson with you being a former social studies teacher from Elgin. Well, you plan on going back to the classroom anyway. That was the whole purpose with you taking a leave of absence, right? Well, besides the mental reason. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. But let's go ahead and talk about history repeating itself. Let's talk about taxation. Chicago has a tax for everything: water tax, grocery tax, tourist tax, hotel tax, bag tax, liquor tax, cigarette tax, the highest sales tax in the country by far, parking tax, surcharge of downtown parking, property lease tax, and streaming tax. The only thing that you all don't have a tax for yet is oxygen tax. And the only reason why you don't have a tax for that just yet is because you ain't figured out how to do it yet. But let me not speak too soon, because you probably might actually think it's a good idea and you're gonna try to write it down. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's not forget about the good old sugar tax. Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016 and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24 pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already are with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals. Also, it's lazy government is what you call it. So let's not forget that we gotta watch these politics. And I was at the Board of Czar meeting, and Tom Homan said out of his mouth that it is illegal to harbor and conceal illegal aliens. So like I told you before, that you ain't gonna blink, well, we ain't gonna flinch either. Now, I'm gonna tell you another thing. All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Robert Thierry.
Hello, thank you for letting me have this opportunity to speak. My name is Robert Thierry. In 2017, I became homeless and disabled. But this year, there was an October 7th attack on two of Chicago's homeless people. Mr. Paul Williams and David Swick were both executed for being homeless, and David Swick was also disabled. I was protesting because homeless lives matter. On November 14th, I was attacked by the owner of the JJ Fish. I have video footage on my cell phone. I did not fight back. They made a false report on me saying that I assaulted them. I was told I could not press charges because I was the assailant on the false report. So November 21st, I went to headquarters at a town hall meeting. And the next day, November 22nd, a detective was assigned. I kept calling him. I didn't get through to him till November 26th. I requested him to look at the video footage at Nikki's across the street from 7828. Actually, 7829 is Nikki's address. He said he would get back to me on Saturday. I didn't get back to him. I had to call him on December 2nd. And I sent him my video on my cell phone. And again, I requested him to look at the video footage at the Nikki's. But instead, he went to JJ Fish and called me on December 6th. He called me, he told me to go talk to the owner of Nikki's, that the owner wants to make amends with me. And I told him no, I wasn't going to do that. He then said, if you don't drop the charges against him, then I will arrest you for harassing the owner of JJ Fish. I said, no, I want to press charges. I want to go order of protection on him. He hung up the phone on me. JJ Fish shows a history of total disregard for human life and violence against disabled citizen of Chicago. Please look into this matter and shut down JJ Fish at 7828 South Western Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is the Chicago Conservative.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
You spent over $574 million on illegal immigrants here in Chicago, Illinois since 2022. Now, you still feel like you have to harbor these illegals, which is not a good idea. And in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to challenge Tom Homan on this because he's trying to clean up our cities, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Now, let me just remind everybody here that Brandon Johnson is terrible with the budget. How is this $40 million credit line is going to work exactly? Because the key word is credit. So how much will we be using from this $40 million? And the real question is, how much will we be paying back? Now, you want to sit here, you and JB Pritzker want to puff out your chest and fight Tom Homan. We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. And I don't want to see people like Pam Bundy and Kash Patel, you know, haul you up out of here and become prosecuted. I don't want to see that happen. But they will do their job if they have to, Brandon Johnson. Now, we are $1 billion in debt. That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money. Now, you ignored me for 10 to 15 seconds last time I was speaking, and I really did not appreciate that at all. But I got a Christmas present for you. Let's remind the people of Chicago that Brandon Johnson spent $32,000 in campaign funds on haircuts and makeup. So I got an early Christmas present for you, Brandon Johnson. This is some makeup for you right here. You got some rouge. You got the makeup brush right there. So you can save this people some money, for crying out loud. Now, let me tell you people, I'm going to be serious here. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. Stop voting these people in. It's not Democrat versus Republican anymore. It is populist versus
I'm definitely showing
It is
this
the populist versus the establishment. Stop letting them trick you into the race baiting when it comes to Brandon Johnson. Oh, black people need help too. Trump want to hurt black people. What are you talking about? We're legal here. We are legal. Now, I'm trying to be nice about this. And Mr. Brandon Johnson, I do respect you in a little bit of way because you're trying the best that you can. I really want to believe that. But listen, man, you got a 14% approval rating. So the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. So I'm just humbly asking you, Brandon Johnson, to please come up with something that's reasonable by the end of this year, because I don't want to see a government shutdown, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Please do your job. I don't care if you're black. Chicago needs to get rid of DEI. I don't care if you're black. Can you do the job? Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job. So please don't fail us.
Thank you very much for your comments. Your Honor, there are no further speakers who have timely signed up for the public comment period.
Very well, thank you. Okay. Sergeant at Arms, please restore order.
We will not accept the fascist America. We refuse to let our immigrant brothers and sisters be rounded up in hard law. We will not tolerate them. When it means these times, it's past protest and resistance.
Sergeant at Arms, please remove these individuals from the chambers.
It's going down in there. They're fighting like crazy. They're bro, this lady's going off. It's like, I don't know how far we are in this lady's off. They start really getting into it. Oh, they might have not put it in this way. I might have to turn the other one. Yeah. I dig that, Floppy. All right. I'm going to end that. Hold on. Let me stop it. All right. Let me get back to y'all real fast. All right. Well, bro, the whole point of me showing that to whoever stuck around, and there's a lot more. That wasn't even the good ones. The reason I showed that was because people were in the chat saying like 2% of the country voted for Trump, and all these people, nobody wanted this, that it was all, no, dude, no. This was right before Trump got in. That's not the case. I think you guys are forgetting how bad it was beforehand. I think you're forgetting, and I'm not apologizing for Trump. I'm just reminding y'all how bad it was. It wasn't good. I mean, you saw the picture of your boy Joe going ahead and what was he doing? He was literally kissing, not kissing, but sniffing the damn Pope, yo. He was sniffing the Pope. That's crazy. Sniffing the Pope. What are they fighting? Legit been under a rock? What do you mean? Why are they fighting? Why were they fighting? Because they were at City Hall expressing how unhappy they were with what they were doing with the illegal immigration stuff. And they were talking to the mayor, who they elected, that said he was going to do certain things, and he never did it. That's called a democracy. That's what people do when they really want to make a point. They go and they fight for their right. That's how we do it in America. Whether it gets taken care of, at least you went and did your duty to let it be known. Straight up. And I know people like Floppy, who's in here right now. He's from that area. He knows those people. He knows people weren't happy in 2024 leading up to the election. He knows that they were talking about everybody being brought in and all of their money going to the illegals and et cetera, and that's not what they voted for. And they wanted help as their community. And if you read their shirts, they all said flip to red, and then there was like red flips, and they had like 3 different groups, and it was all Democrats from Chicago that flipped over to red because of the same reason that we all voted for Trump, because of the situation going on in our country. And I don't believe those people have any more dislike towards America, or I don't believe they have any dislike towards any human being. I think they just want what's generally best for their community. As do I, and as do most of us. So that's why I had to show that, because all I've heard is negative from one side. And it's like, look, dude, people were fighting on both. People were fighting this. And I just wish people would remember that was going on. That was going on. Like, we can't forget that. So, yeah, definitely. No problem, Mulligan. No problem. It wasn't a good time. It was bad times. We sat there and we fought for this to not happen to where we're at today. I know Floppy knows. I went live every single night saying we need to stop this now so it doesn't get to the point where we're at right now. I mean, it was obvious. And this isn't a one-sided thing, man. This was both sides. So, I'm going to leave it at that. Floppy said I would be more pissed if the White Sox moved. I hear you. I would be way more mad if the Indians left than the Browns. I still got Ohio State. I'm good to go. So, you know, I hear you, Floppy. A lot of Bears fans said they'll stop being fans. I don't think they will. They say it now until football season comes around and y'all win like a couple games. Then people will be fans. Then people will start being fans again. You know that's true. You know that's true. So, but yeah, I just wanted to at the end of the day, I just wanted to show after we watched all that there was a lot more going on. And I have a lot more. I have a show put together for talking about the digital dollar and cryptocurrency. I want to talk about Trump and Davos and the World Economic Forum. I didn't get to none of that in his speech. So be looking out for me. I'm going to get up out of here, though. Y'all have a blessed night. Peace and love. Hit the like, share, subscribe. I'm out. Much love.